Hey, Facebook. I am logging into my Instagram so that I can be live on both because I neglect my Instagram people quite a bit. Hello, Facebook. Hello, Instagram. Hello, YouTube. Hey guys, I am Dethea. And I'm a business strategist along with a journey to love enthusiast. So tonight I am going to talk to you guys a little bit about my upcoming group uh, journey. I'm going to call it a journey. Some people call it a challenge, but that's what I'm going to talk about. And tonight we're going to focus on the greatness in you, right? So let me just share this right quick and allow some more people to jump on both, and then we will get started. Okay, so I'm just going to share right quick, just right quick. If y'all would just bear with me. For those of you who are logging in, I thank you so much. I thank you so much for your support. I thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys. But I know that many of us are, sitting around during this season, and some of us are living our best lives, and some of us are just living life. Okay, and we're just letting life happen. Maybe I need to adjust my light a little bit. Yeah, well, we're just letting life happen. We're going through things. We're kind of going through the motions. And I just wanted to chime in with a little, with just a little help. I know that many of us are, we're trying to figure it out. If you're anything like me over the last few years, I've just been trying to figure out, like, who am I? We have for those of you who are in the Gen Xers, we've been through a lot. We've evolved a lot. And over the years, sometimes we think we're supposed to stay in a place, but we really aren't. So I really want to talk about your identity. Like, do you really know who you are? I mean, and that's a great question because many of us don't. Like, we're who everybody else wants us to be, right? We're who our parents wanted us to be. We're who our spouses want us to be. We're who our friends want us to be. We're who our coworkers want us to be, our bosses. We're who everyone else wants us to be, but are we who we're supposed to be? So that's what I want to talk about. So in this particular journey, identifying who you are is so important if you want to find your actual greatness. If you want to discover, where you fit in, how you can serve the world, what you were created for. Like, you have to really look at that man in the mirror and determine who you are. And so tonight I'm going to be brief and brilliant and go through this with you. So most people experience what I call an identity crisis, right? There comes a certain point in your life where things just don't feel the same. What you used to do just don't feel right, right? You know, where you used to go, you don't really want to go no more. The people that you used to be around, you're not really sure why they don't fit your lifestyle anymore. And that's because you've lost yourself. You've lost yourself in trying to please others. You've lost yourself in going after a position, going after a particular financial status, you know, being a servant to those who are around you. Sometimes in that particular rhythm, you do lose yourself. And so, just a few questions to ask yourself, just in case you're not really sure if you are lost, like, just in case you're not really sure if that is the case. Do you have a strong sense of identity? Do you really know your place in your world? Do you know your place in the world, in your city, in your community? Do you know your place? Do you do you have a struggle kind of seeing yourself 3 years, 5 years out? Like, is that something that you really, when you think about it, you like, I don't even know. Um, are you discontent with certain areas in your life? For me, 3 years ago, I really woke up one day and I was just like, this is not it. The things that I were the things that I did, the places that I was frequenting, the people that were around me, these were people who had been around me for years. And I'm like, well, why do I feel this way? Why am I not excited about the people that are around me, the things that I'm doing anymore? And it was mainly because, hey, how y'all doing? It was mainly because I had grown out of it, and I had not taken the time to truly look at who I was in that moment, who I've evolved to become. I didn't take the time to do that, and so I just fell into a rhythm of trying to serve people or people please, but I never took a look inside to see what would make me really happy. And I thought making other people would make me happy. I thought if I joined this organization, if I worked really hard, if I got them to like me, if I got them to accept me, if I worked my way into a particular place or a particular position, that things would be good. But it turned out that it was worse, because when you're living your true authentic self, right? When you're not being the person that you were designed to be, when you're out of place and out of pocket, then it'll show up in all kind of ways. You'll see that maybe you're doing well in your finances, but your health is failing. Or maybe you're doing well in your health and your finances are not there. Or maybe you're doing really well in your finances, but your relationships are in shambles. See, we're supposed to live a balanced life, right? There's supposed to be a balance in our life. We're supposed to be a balanced person, a person where we're kind of clicking on all, not kind of, we're clicking on all cylinders. We have healthy relationships. We're doing well in our finances. We're doing well physically, mentally, we're doing well. And when something's off, you have to take the time to take a look at that. Like, you have to take the time for yourself and say, what's really going on? Like, what is it about my life? Because everything is pretty much the way that it was. What is it about my life that I'm not happy with? And sometimes we just try to push through, right? I'm gonna just push through. And we pretend. But one of the things that this season that we're currently in, this season in the world, is it's allowing us to come to the table with ourselves. Some of us are in our homes by ourselves. Our normal escape, which is to be out amongst people, that's kind of been shut down. The things that we used to do to avoid the issue, right? Because I know I was real good at avoiding the issue. Those things are no longer readily available to us. So now what we have to do is we have to deal with what it is that's most important, and that's our relationship with ourselves. The number one relationship you can have is the relationship with yourself. And when I say the Bible says that we love our neighbor as ourself, right? So if you're loving your neighbor as yourself, and there is a rift between you and your neighbor, and I mean, that's anybody. If there's a rift between you and the girl at Wendy's, you and the girl at Taco Bell, you and the guy at, whatever it is, that's truly an indication that there's something going on with your own love meter, because we attract that which we are, right? The word says, well, not the word. People say opposites attract. I disagree because the law of attraction is real, right? So, whoever or whatever we are, we tend to attract that. We tend to attract that to ourselves, right? And so, if you're not attracting that which you want to have in your life, a lot of times it's a key indicator that you're a little off. I know, like, we don't want to hear that. We never want to hear that we're off. We never want to hear that we have an off moment or an off time period. We never want to hear that. But it could be absolutely the truth. So, why might you be struggling with your identity? If any of those things resonate with you, if you're discontent, if you feel like there's more to life than what you're dealing with, why might that be the case? And I submit to you that, like, you haven't discovered the new you. We're ever evolving, right? If you think about it, in school, the person you were in kindergarten certainly is not the person you are when you get to the 12th grade, right? Well, that's the same thing in life. The things that you held important to you in your teens are not the same as what's important to you in your 20s. It's not the same that's important to you in your 30s and your 40s. And if you're not constantly reevaluating and evolving and making the course corrections because you're evolving, then you're holding yourself in a place of stagnation. And nothing likes to be stagnant. I don't know if you've ever been around water that's been just sitting there and just sitting there. Number one, it attracts mosquitoes. And baby, we've had some mosquitoes, right? Number two, it starts to grow a fungus. It starts to grow nasty stuff that doesn't serve you anymore. And so, if you're not evolving, if you're not saying, you know what, this 40-year-old me is different from the 20-year-old me, and so why I'm doing the same things I don't understand, well, it's really time for you to take an evaluation of that. And right now, while you have the time, while the world is still kind of at a slower pace than what it was before, it's so important, guys, that you discover your greatness, that you discover your true identity, who you are today, not who you were yesterday, not who you were 50 years ago, but who you are today, because who you are today is an amazing person. And it's someone that, when you discover who she is, because most of the people that I talk to are women, when you discover who she is, then you'll fall in love with her over and over and over again. And the love that you have for her will then be poured out to the earth, right? It'll be poured out to those who are around you, because you have such a love and for yourself, and you're cultivating who you are every day, and you're evolving and you're evolving and you're growing and you're expanding, and you're not just stuck in this little bubble, in this little place that you had been before. So, today I just really wanted you to take a look at the person in the mirror. Take a look at that person and really discover who she is. What do you like? What is your personality? What kind of people do you gravitate to? When you're looking at TV shows, who's the person you identify with the most? There are so many indicators that will tell you who you are if you don't know. What are your friends like? What are you the go-to person for your friends? Like, when your friends call you, are you the person that they call to go shopping? Are you the person that they call when they just need to talk? Are you the person that they call when they just, when they like want to share some of their best moments? Or do they not call you anymore? I don't know. But these are things that you've got to bring to the forefront, so that as we move through this process, right, of discovering your greatness, as we move through this process of becoming the best version of you in this hour, then the things that the opportunities that are available to you, the abundance that's available to you, the joy and peace and relationships that are available to you when you're operating at your highest self, they'll just start coming your way. They'll just start coming your way. But if you don't do the work, if you don't take the time to cultivate that, and to really have that one-on-one time with yourself, where you're discovering who you really are, then you won't know the next step to take. A lot of people are waiting. They're like, well, when I just can't wait till we get back to. I promise you, it's not going backwards, it's going forward. And so if it's going forward, but you're still in the back, then that's like that Left Behind movie, right? Like, you don't want to be left behind. I know you don't, not even by yourself. Like, you can leave your own self behind. That's how people end up in, depression and anxiety and things like that, because they're not living at their highest self. Okay. So, um, today I just wanted um, to to bring up the point of looking yourself in the mirror and having that tough. It isn't even tough, let me stop tripping, it's not even a tough conversation, but having that conversation with yourself to truly discover who you are. Because who you are will lead you to your abundance. Because who you are will tell you your purpose and your passions and your visions. You don't have to just live life the way that you did before, just accepting whatever, and hoping and wishing. No, you can literally navigate your life to your abundance, to your best place, to your higher living. You can navigate that. But the first step is, do you know who the man in the mirror is? And when I say man, I don't mean you're a man, but do you know who that person is? Yay. We're done with our first message, our first lesson. Yeah, our first talk. I appreciate those of you who have joined. I appreciate those of you who are going to listen to this in the replay tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Again, I'm going to come back with part two, and part two um, will will dive a little bit deeper, and we'll talk about, like, what does that actually mean? Like, what is finding yourself? Like, how is that really valuable? So I'm excited. I'm excited about this journey. I thank each and every one of you who are taking it with me. Thank you guys so much for the love on that 30-day self-love journey. That was so amazing. I appreciate each and every one of you who gave me the feedback, and those who really grew from it. And that's my desire. My desire is just to help you grow and to help you reach your next level. I'm a business strategist, but before we can get to the business of business, which is going to start on the 31st, right? And I was going to open up registration now, but I'm not going to do it, because if you don't do this work, if you don't do the work of self discovery, then you'll just be jumping into something, paying for another class, talking to another person, doing another thing, gaining more knowledge, only to not go anywhere, only not to even get out of the gates. Yeah, right. I know. Ask me how I know. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining. Those of you who are on YouTube, thank you for joining. It looks like my quality of video is kind of horrible tonight. I apologize. I'll fix that by tomorrow. But I really appreciate those of you who joined. If you joined at the end, go back to the beginning, and really dig into discovering who you are, because in order for you to actually step into your greatest days, which are ahead of you, believe me, they are ahead of you. You've got to discover who that new you is. Like, who is that 2020 Deirdre? Dethea, who is that? Like, and who is that 2020 person? You've got to know who that is in order for you to move forward. All right, guys, love, light, and joy. Peace, and I'm out.